Bracken, good to see you, buddy.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Now, listen, just a quick one here. Hometown's the Bay Area.
That's right.
And you guys have been doing really well. Your stocks have gone up by 500%, is that right?
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, this guy knows what he's talking about. Thanks very much.
Thank you. It's never too late to get in, as you're going to hear in a minute. Now let's see. I think yeah. Okay, let me go ahead and get started. So first of all, I'm going to talk, as Anson said, I'm going to talk about design and a little bit of background. So I started my career as an accountant like Anson did. And so I'm the last person you should be listening to talk about design. But I am talking about design because I took a circuitous route through my career to the point where I landed at a place called Braun, or Brown. How many people know Braun? Okay, how many people have ever heard of Dieter Rams? A few of you. Okay, so I had the good fortune of running Braun for about 4 years out of Germany. And in the process of running Braun, I fell in love with design. And design thinking is a derivative of the original concept of design, and it's applied more broadly. Now, if you've been alive today, you've heard everybody talking about design and its impact on businesses. And this is a chart just to show you how direct that impact is. You know, this is a chart of the one-year return of various companies, including our own. This is the S&P 500. The SMI is a Swiss stock index. And this is, over the last 4 or 5 years, what's happened to our stock price as we refocused on design. So we've gone up, as Anson said, almost 500%. When I took over, the stock was about when I took over, it was about $7. Today, we traded about $37. But, you know, stock prices always go up and down. I was just on CNBC a few minutes ago, and the interviewer asked me about Tesla and Amazon and whether those stocks are overvalued. And I said the same thing to her that I'll say to you. I don't know, because I'm not an expert in short-term stock valuation. But I am, at least I think I am, somewhat knowledgeable about where things are going in the longer term, as you are. And I can tell you that when you look at Amazon or you look at Tesla or you look at us, I think we're all probably good investments for the long term because we're all oriented around design and design thinking. And I'll finish that thought in a minute. If I can change my slides. There we go. This is a picture of where we were when I came into the company. As you can see, we had originally started Logitech. How many people in this room own at least one Logitech product? It's not nearly enough, by the way. But you probably own more than you think now. But we started, we were, I would say, pretty design-centered. We started in 1981 and up and through 2008. We always used external design. Like if you're in a startup, you probably do. We always used external designers, but we were pretty design-led. We had been run by two people who had an eye and a feel for design. Both happened to be Italians, but it didn't have anything to do with why they were design-led. Both of them had left the company or stepped back by the time 2008 hit. And at that time, the whole world changed for us. The PC started to slow down. You all know that we were a PC peripherals company. And when the PC peripherals started to slow down, we started to try other things. We lost a little bit of our focus on products. And mainly, we lost our central focus on design. Now, I had the luxury of working for the last 10 years at companies where we had our own design groups inside the company. And so when I came to Logitech, I felt very strongly that we needed that. I wanted that. And I wanted to become a design company. So this is a little bit about our design vision. When I came into the company, as I said, we had 0 designers, not one. And pretty quickly, I found my way to hiring my first designer. My first designer was this gentleman, who is a guy named Alistair Curtis, who was the head of Nokia's design for many years, through the good times and some of the bad. And he learned a lot about design and design thinking inside of Nokia. And between him, the two of us, we agreed we would build a design, essentially like a design agency inside, but not one that operated independently of our business, one that was integrated into it. So as you can see, those little red dots on the map of the world there are places where we now have designers. We have over 100 different designers in all kinds of design, from UI and UX to industrial design to brand design, web design, even business model design. So we've got a lot of different kinds of design in. We're working it from all over the world. The first thing he and I did, if I can change my slide, would be helpful. If I can't, I can do this without them. Okay, there you go. The first thing we did was to define design principles. When I was on, we had, if you know Dieter Rams, some of you may have seen these before, he defined 10 principles of industrial design that became commonplace in design studios all over the world. By the time I got here, I felt like we needed to rethink what principles we would follow. Those are still quite relevant, but in the world we were entering into, we were in completely different categories. I feel like we needed different principles. The two that I'll call attention to here, I think, are applicable to anyone. The first one is one powerful idea. One powerful idea is pretty obvious, but I'll give you an analogy. One powerful idea in the year 1930 or 1940 would have been to have a car for every person, a way to travel anywhere you wanted, anywhere in the world, or at least anywhere in the United States if you were there. And that's the idea that really a lot of companies went after. So that idea is not exclusive to you. Normally, if you're in no matter what business you're in, you need to be centered on one powerful idea. The second one, though, is exclusive to you, which is the soul of the design. The soul that expresses itself through every layer of the experience. In its perfect execution, to quote Steve Jobs, that soul of the design would express itself in everything you do, in every layer of the experience. The old name for this was brand equity. And I say the old name because I don't like that as an expression. I like the expression of a soul. And so when we develop a product, we try to have it as that soul, express it through every layer of the experience. The analogy in that car experience would be the VW Beetle. How many people here know the Volkswagen Beetle, the little rounded? Okay, most of you do. So that was unique to Volkswagen and a unique shape, and it was a unique expression. And it was a little bit more lovable than a boxy car. So I use that example because it's a really simple one to understand. One powerful idea, one soul. The next three down here are really about different executional ideas. The first one is something we believe in, and a lot of companies do, which is simplification. So when we talk effortless, we're really talking about removing steps. Everything we look at, we try to remove steps or remove thinking required for the user so the user can think about the things they need to and not the things we need to. The second is craftsmanship. We're in an industrial product business, so craftsmanship is absolutely crucial. Making it feel and look as if somebody really cared about every single detail. Apple is the master of this. And then the last is magical, and this is when it all comes together, and when you create an experience that you almost can't believe it's real that first time, whether it's literally just opening a box or it's using the product for the first time. If you can pull off all five of those, you've always had success, at least in the scale that you're operating against, in that category you're operating against. So this was our starting point. I think I need a slide change. There you go. So the bottom line is, as we've executed our plan here, it's really started to work, as I said. So you've seen our stock go up, and I mentioned in the beginning, we went up 500%. But the most interesting thing for us is that we're really at the very beginning. We're at the very beginning in two different ways. First, we're at the very beginning because I haven't explained what categories we're in today. Most of you know us for mice and keyboards and headsets, the things that go around a PC. We've changed the way we think of our business. Today, we really see ourselves as not enabling PCs, but as enabling cloud-based services. So we make Bluetooth speakers that enable streaming. We make Bluetooth earphones that enable streaming music or talking on the phone, whatever cloud-based service you want. We make video conferencing equipment that enables video conference using video conferencing, whether it's Google Hangouts or Zoom or FaceTime or anything you want. So we envision a world where we can go into almost anything is cloud enabled. A cloud service needs to be enabled through hardware or a combination of hardware and software. That's one version of just getting started. The second version just getting started, is taking design beyond the product experience and beyond the experience we bring to users. This is the piece I think very few companies have really figured out yet. And I think there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is when you start to apply to the rest of the business, it's a lot harder when you're big. So how many people in this room are in a startup? Okay. Huge advantage over big companies. The huge advantage you have is that normally, at least when you start, you've got 3 or 4 or 5 people. One person is responsible for the product, and usually they're very close to the consumer or the user because they have to be because they're trying to develop the product. One person is responsible for getting it made, whether it's with engineers or with a manufacturing facility. So they're very close to the problems that happen in the factory. When one of those people has a problem, they're usually sitting right next to each other, having a conversation about it. There's no time lost between the discussion. There's no quality control. There's no management. There's no hierarchy. There's no bureaucracy. There's no politics. There's just 2 and 3 or 4 other people sitting around a table, sometimes a dining room table or standing in a garage. And that speed and that iteration is design thinking. It drives design thinking. In its best, if in a really good startup, they are extremely design thinking oriented. So if you're operating at your best, you can outperform a large company any day of the week. In fact, I would say big companies are in big trouble because if you really think about it, actually, let me give you an example, a little data point. If you looked at the Fortune 500 from 1955, and then you roll it forward to 2015, what you'd find is almost 90% of those companies are no longer in the Fortune 500 that were there in the beginning, even though they had every advantage. They should still be there. They had more resources, they had more access to talent, they had more of everything. And if you think that's just a relic of the fact that it took 60 or 70 years to get there, I'll tell you this, in the last decade, and it's been true almost every decade, 50% of the companies in the 500 drop out. How can that be? I mean, if you really think about it, it makes no sense. They're bigger than everybody else. They have more resources to find new ideas. They can buy you. So why in the world are half the Fortune 500s dropping out every 10 years? It's because of this. It's because the bigger you get, the more layers of... So when you start with 5 people, you're really efficient. You have great design thinking. As you get 25 or 30 or 50, you suddenly have layers of management. And if you're an engineering-oriented business, you end up with quality control. As you get bigger and bigger, and you're 500 to 1,000, you get slower, and you get more political, you get more bureaucratic, and you get more problems. And you slow down. And so if you have a startup, you know it intuitively, or you wouldn't go into business, you have an ability to pick big companies apart. So my mission in my job now is not to serially enter new categories, but to do it in such a way that I don't turn into one of those big, slow, political, bureaucratic companies. I don't know what the answer is. I'll be honest with you. I know that if I don't figure this out, we'll be another casualty of being too big. So we've got a lot of work to do to figure out what to do, but I think it's possible. In the meantime, all companies like yours and like so many others have such an opportunity to pick companies like us apart, and I would encourage you to do it. Now, my last comment is this. One of the things we're doing is we're trying to create multiple small businesses throughout our company. That's part of our mechanism to try to resolve this. So why am I here talking to you? Because we are always looking for startups to partner with, to acquire, and we're also increasingly run by entrepreneurs, either successful entrepreneurs or failed ones, come into our company and run businesses. So that's why I'm here. We're open for business. We're open for employment. So with that, I'll stop. Thank you.